In 2008, a one-on-one fighting game spanning a 20-year legacy of one of the greatest role-playing franchises became a portable smash hit. Almost 10 years later, it will return to the arcade scene and the PlayStation 4 with 3 times the ambition. Stay tuned as we break down the past, present, and potential future of one of the most unique arena fighting games ever created. This is Dissidia NT, 1 year later. The year is 2012, 1 year after the release of Dissidia Duodecim, the last update to the original Dissidia on PlayStation Portable. Talks about creating yet another iteration of the Dissidia series surfaced. The series producer, Takeo Kujiraoka, felt the natural course of action would be to make one for the PlayStation Portable's more powerful successor, the PlayStation Vita. The would-be character designer, Tetsuya Nomura, felt there was nothing more they could do with the series, but Kujiraoka suggested to take the series in an entirely different direction. With the input of Taito, a longtime company with decades of experience in the arcade industry that has since been bought by Square Enix, the decision was clear. The next installment would operate at the toss of a coin in a machine. Even with their plans set in stone, however, Square Enix and Taito couldn't do this alone. The arcade industry had changed a great deal in Japan, as they were online capable and it was possible to purchase ID cards to save data and keep downloadable content as the game is updated. As Kujiraoka's research came to fruition, he came to a realization that they needed a new contender in their corner, Koei Tecmo, or more specifically, Team Ninja. Whether it was a twist of fate or mere coincidence, two once small companies that produced a franchise crucial to their salvation, two companies whose games were once unofficially brought together in a viral crossover fan series called Dead Fantasy, were actually working together for the first time to create a new Dissidia game. Shortly after the release of Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate Arcade that same year, Koei Tecmo director Yosuke Hayashi immediately jumped to the project, helming development of the new title with Kujiraoka as the director. Tetsuya Nomura, of course, would oversee the game's visual direction and retain his role as character designer. Simply titled Dissidia Final Fantasy, and has since been dubbed Dissidia Final Fantasy Arcade, the game was announced at the Japan Amusement Expo to the excitement of many fans. However, no one was prepared for how different this Dissidia game was going to be. From the outset, Square Enix's vision was to make the game a 3-on-3 arena fighting game instead of 1-on-1. The reason supporting this was because the developers wanted players to immerse themselves in the feeling of being in a party, similar to traditional Final Fantasy role-playing games of the past. Not only that, but Team Ninja already had a 1-on-1 fighting game in the arcade market that they developed. Ultimately, the goal for this new game was to make it fun to play competitively as well as socially. In order to do this, several changes needed to be made. For starters, RPG elements such as stat changing equipment that were prevalent in the PSP Dissidia installments had to be completely removed. Mechanics such as EX bursts, summon stones, chasing, and the freezing animation during bravery breaks were all removed to maintain the flow of combat in a 3-on-3 environment. All players now had a fixed value of 3,500 HP and 1,000 bravery points respectively. Furthermore, the reward for breaking an opponent's bravery was always 1,000 additional bravery points. With these values in tow, and the goal being the first team to completely deplete the HP of the other 3 times, it opted for a much faster paced competitive experience than the previous games before it. When this video was first released, many have speculated and even assumed that Dissidia Final Fantasy Arcade's plans were cancelled at the arcade and were going directly to a home release on the PlayStation 4, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. Despite these fans' hopes, Square Enix officially stated that the new game would not see a PlayStation 4 release until 1 year after an exclusive run in Japanese arcades. The true purpose of the video was to demonstrate gameplay developed under standard arcade hardware compared to what could be accomplished on base PlayStation 4 hardware. That taken into account, Dissidia Final Fantasy Arcade's development is rather unique, as it is essentially a modified PlayStation 4 repurposed into arcade hardware. In addition, the controls were essentially a DualShock 4, split in two conjoined by large sticks, with a large button shaped like a crystal in the center. After months of research, local playtesting, and feedback, Dissidia Final Fantasy Arcade made its official launch in late November of 2015, with an all-star roster to kick off the action. Returning characters at the arcade's launch would include Warrior of Light, Furia, Onion Knight, Cecil Harvey, Marks Clouser, Tara Bramford, Cloud Strife, Squall Leonhardt, Zidane Tribal, Tidus, Gentoto, Vaughn, Lightning Farron, and a newcomer from Final Fantasy XIV, Y'shtola. With the initial groundwork for Dissidia Final Fantasy Arcade in place and stiff competition in Japanese arcades, one could only wonder, would this bold new direction lead to a smash arcade hit?